APIs, and IFTTT for SaaS firms. Our goal is to provide you with actionable insights and practical strategies that you can apply to your own products. Throughout the session, we encourage you to engage with us, asking questions and sharing your thoughts. This is a fantastic opportunity to learn from each other and gain new insights that can help drive your SaaS initiatives forward. So let's get started. Jai, Harsh, Kaushik, how are we doing today?
Yes, doing great today.
Doing good.
Yeah, that's good.
Lots of work. We shifted our office, so I
Yeah.
lost a great background that used to be there, but hopefully we'll get something similar to that very, very soon. And coming to the conversation that we want to have today, right? Mastering integrations, APIs, and IFTTT for SaaS firms. So let's start with the open-ended general question, right? What is IFTTT? What are APIs? Why do I, if I'm running a SaaS company, why do I need to master integrations?
Okay. Yeah. So IFTTT, right? So if we talk about the full form, then the meaning is if this, then that, right? So let's consider I have one SaaS product, okay? And now I have hundreds of features in this SaaS product, right? Now once we have high user volume, right? So there must be some use cases where user wants to integrate or user wants to send data from one platform to one their own product to different product, right? So like we can take one example, like if I have a CRM, right? So you can say I want to send some lead data. I want to get some Facebook ads data to my lead, right? Or just like I want to send data from my platform to another platform, right? So in general, if we can consider, right, only the one product, right, we have hundred of features, right, versus the one product we have hundred of features, but they also have integration with third parties with other products, right? So this integrations is known as a IFTTT. In this, not as a IFTTT, but this is the platform that help us to build IFTTT, right? So such like let's take one good example, okay? So like for my marketing, right, I am using the Facebook ads, right? And the CRM, I am using such like the Salesforce or HubSpot, right? Now there is a one use case such like the if the I will get some lead data, good lead data in my Facebook ads, right? Then I want to add this data in my CRM because so this is a one integration that I want to implement, right? So in this we can say if the lead is coming from Facebook, right, then what I want to add this data into my CRM. So if this is a one type of scenario that you can create using the if and this, then you can build this integration. This is known as a IFTTT, right? uh, yeah. So and if I am able to create this IFTTT within my product, right, then you can say I can any my users, right, they are using my product, they can integrate my product with 100 of other products with using this if then formula, right? And if uh, this if any other platform, right, that help us to make this if this formula, right, so this is known as a IFTTT platform, right? So let's take one more example that like I tell you the scenario, right, the Facebook H2 lead, right? So there are two ways we can do that, okay? First is the API, okay? That like API is, what is the API? API is a application program interface. The API is the known when you want to communicate between the two platforms, right? So like I want to send some data from my product to another product, or if I want to fetch some data from other product, right? If the communication, I want to do communication, then this can be done using the API, right? But our now in our example, right, such like the Facebook has to the my CRM data, right? For that I have to use Facebook API first, right, to fetch the data, right, and then after add the data in my CRM, right? So I have to integrate Facebook APIs first, right? Other case is where someone wants to fetch my data, right? That like the we can say if so like in my CRM, right? We have a list of leads, right? So I want to make one scenario where if the lead is convert to if the lead is convert to customer, right? Matlab, it is a won condition, right, for us, right? Win condition. Then I want to do some action with other platforms, such like the I am using the intercom for my sequences, right? If I want to run something on my actions, right? So at that time, what I have to do, I have to send data to intercom, right? So these are two use cases. Such like the one is the one when I want to fetch the data from other platform, or I want to send some data to the other platform. In both way, this can be done using the API, right? So we can say API is a technical thing, right? Such like the if I want to integrate data, then I have to write some code, other things, right? But if there is a non-tech person, right, they want to integrate or they want to make this flow without any without writing code, which is a no code implementation, right? So for that, there is a upper stage which is known as a IFTTT platform. Okay, this platform help us to build this integration without writing the code. Yeah, so this is a we can say one of formula, or we can say the general definition of IFTTT platform. Yeah,
So you're trying to
Got it.
say there's a, yeah. So
yeah,
you're trying to
right.
say that it's a GUI interface where even non-tech person with having a little amount of learning curve would be able to grasp and would be able to make multiple apps talk through the IFTTT platform, right?
Yes, right, right, right.
Interesting. So,
Yeah.
could you share the case where it is needed? So, let's say I'm a SaaS founder and I just built my product and launched it 6 months ago, right? Is there any specific case when I should be looking forward to, making my app available for IFTTT platform in like Zapier or Make or anything as such?
Okay. Yeah. So it's mostly depend on the what user are asking, right? So it's like the we can say uh, your product is project management tool, right? And the where users can the clients have their project management tool where they can assign the task to their team member, those things, right? And in this it is possible if any use cases, right, where your app is integrate if user wants to integrate some data or some features to other application, that like we can say they want to send some message to Slack, right? Within this product, if something is happen, right, at that time if they want to do something is outside of their product, right, if they are the use cases they can find us, right? At that time it will be good to go to the IFTTT platform and then integrate your product within this Zapier, or we can say the Mac, so that your users can use this integration and send data or get data to different products. Yeah. And if you such like the in whatever the IFTTT platform, right, Zapier or Make, right? So in this there are the two things, most important things, right? The first is the trigger and other is the action, right? So if I am looking for the use case, right? Such like the how I know, okay, whether it is a good time to go to the platform, right? So first I have to identify within this product, right, I have something that I consider as a main trigger of this platform, right? We can say in my use case I can say, right, if any user any user send the mail to support, right, at that time I want to create this support ticket in my platform, right? So this is a one use case where if something happen, then I want to do some action in my platform, right? This is known as an action tab. If you can find out say particular actions, then you can create the action in your IFTTT platform, right? And other is a trigger, such like the you can say if something is happen in my platform, that like the we can say I have integrated my such like the GitLab, right? If GitLab is integrated with Slack, right? So I can I want to build if I push something, right? If I so this is trigger. If I push something in my GitLab, then I these things happen on the Slack. So these are the two important things: trigger and action. If you are able to find these trigger actions in your particular use cases in within a product, then you can build according to use cases. Yeah.
But I think Harsh, based on what you explained, it seemed like a huge, it's like a huge boost that it gives for a SaaS product, right? So could you give some example just to make it much more clearer, based on the to understand much more clearer? Can you give some example of a product that uh, used IFTT and like the kind of boost that it gave to that particular SaaS product? Do you have anything in your mind?
Yeah. So we can say such like the matlab, are you talking about in your product or something other products?
Any
The
product, give it as an example.
Yeah. So we can say this is a very common example, right? There is a lead generation form, right? In every website, we have lead generation form, right? Where we are getting the leads, right? So now just consider कि website is मतलब website or product, right? Whatever. So this is you have built this website or product, right? But the CRM where you want to capture the lead, right? It can be also it's a different from your website, right? So like you are using HubSpot or Salesforce, right? So now just consider you want to send lead data, the which is the in website, right? And the other use case is this is CRM where your sales team is working to convert the lead, right? So this is the one use case where you can send this lead data to your CRM product, right? So this is a one integration. So it's like the in website there is a Wix, Webflow, right? Or WordPress. There are some good platforms there help us to build the website, right? So you can integrate this WordPress or Webflow which can help us to get the lead data and the CRM, right? This is a destination that you want to send the data. So you can integrate this with using the Zapier or Meg to send the data from Webflow or Wix to your CRM, like the HubSpot and the Salesforce. Yeah, this is a one use case. There are many use cases, like the you can say I tell you Facebook and Google Ads, right? So there are the different platforms, Google Analytics, right? These are the platforms that help us to track the events, right? But now, if there you are using any marketing tool or dashboard, right, where you want to get this data or you want to show the data, so this is a one use case is that you can integrate your analytics tool to your reporting tool, right? Yeah. So other tools such like the we can integrate mailbox, right? Such like there is a support system that we have built, right? So if you get the mail, right, then you can send this data to your support system, right? So these are the normal use cases of the.
Correct. And so let's say I'm a SaaS founder. I have a product that works sort of well, within in and of itself. And if we want to integrate or we want to implement or help our customers implement IFTTT using our own product, through our product or for our product, how do I go about it? And and what do I like do the same people who are working on the product on the core product are the same people who work on this? What are the like if there are 3 4 5 steps to all of this? So let's say I have a product that works well, and then the end goal is for my customers to be able to get my product to integrate with anything and everything that exists out there. If those are the two states of existence, from no integrations to 5000 plus integrations, what are the intermittent steps? Who accomplishes those steps in a typical SaaS company? And if and when they get accomplished, what are the
Okay.
metrics to measure?
Understood. Yeah. So let's divide into the three phases. Okay. So first like the I launch my SaaS product, right, and I have very few customers, right, and if my customer or my users, right, wants to uh, integrate my product to other products, right? So first what we can do is we can create the public API. The first stage always is the public API, right? That like the you can say the list of the APIs that our users are asking, right? So like if they want to fetch some data, they want to add something in your product, right? So what we can do, you can create first the public APIs, right? And you can there are platforms such as the Spotlight, right? They help us to create the whole API documentation for that. So first, in the initial stages, you can create the public APIs and make it publicly available for your users. And you can also create a good documentation, okay, how to call APIs within the product, right? So first is the creating the public API, right? After you can get some good traffic, right? And when the users are requesting the integrations that are highly demandable, that like, or we can say the mostly most of your users are asking the same integration, right? So now it's time to move from public API to something, okay, that where the something where they our users can integrate this very quickly without rewriting the code. Because in public API, what is that, like they have to write a code to call your API, right? But now if the some integration that very high demandable, you want to create some automation that can help, right? So at that time you can go from public API to IFTTT, right? Such like the Mac, right? Where instead of your users bind our APIs, public API to within product, you can build something on IFTTT or OPS, so that your user don't have to integrate, or your user don't have to integrate a public APIs manually. You automatically build some automation or integration on or IFT tools, so that you can launch a public APIs on tool, and your users can directly use this API just by using the click and drag and drop. This is a second step where you can build you can build the integration on IFTT, right? And now, so and other benefits of IFTTT, such like the once you make some good automation in your within the tool, right? Such like the Zapier or Make or Integromat or Pebble, right? Then it is open to hundreds of applications, right? So it is like you just have to make something only one time, and then you open your API, so you can open your product to within the thousand of products, because there are also so many other applications are available on the different side, right? So in this way you can say from 0 to 1 is the public API if you consider. So we can say 1 to 100. It's such like there's a different where you launch your a product to the IFE tool, right? So this is a second things. Now third, such like the we can say uh, so what's the difference between the first and two, right? The first is the public API, which is not common, right? But it's a common for everyone, right? Now second is the IFTTT, where you build something and then it is available to thousand of products, right? It is still the common. But now the third is the we can say custom application, or we can say the marketplace, right? Where you particularly we can say particularly point to some other product, right? Where instead of going to common, right? Or we can yeah, specialize, no, we're not, we can say common, but instead of we can say the common use cases, right? Instead of common use cases, if you find some particular pinpoint, right, there our that your customer user wants, right? For that, if you create some custom application, so this is a third we can say in stage, which is a third use case, third, we can say third stage. Let me give some examples so it will get better for understanding. uh, such like the you are using the HubSpot for CRM, okay? And there are so many we can say you have done so many integrations, right? Such like the Google Analytics, Facebook, or we can say 12 or other things, right? But now your if your customer wants something very uniquely, right, they are not available with using the Zapier, or their use cases is so much complex, so that you have to write your own logic instead of the integration, right? So for that, you can build your custom application, and then after you can put your application to your marketplace of your third party applications, like the, yeah, according to use case. So this is a third, you can say third stage in your pipeline, where you can create some marketplace for your customer, right? Yeah, and and the other thing is the metrics, right? That you are asking, right? So what metrics that we have to measure, right? So firstly, on the public page, there is a no metrics are no, still metrics is if the your customer wants to integrate your APIs, and the first stage is the public API, and there is a we can say public is a general things. But now, but if as I tell you, if they can say the there is no particular count, but if the number of requests are very highly if the requests are very high for some integrations to, right, then we have to go from the IFTTT, right? And if the you can say there are some special use cases, or we can say the some features they are very complex to build say, integration with IFTTT. At that time, you have to go to the custom application, or we can say the marketplace, or yeah.
Interesting. So that explains a lot about when to have integrate IFTTT integration possible, and especially when to build a dedicated app for any third-party app where we can utilize it for a competitive advantage, or we can actually make it easy for our existing users to migrate from their existing platforms.
Yeah,
So that is interesting. But there was another question that came into my mind while you were explaining IFTTT. So obviously, the using IFTTT, one app will be able to talk with many other apps. That's for sure. Now, let's
right.
say if I, as founder who has launched product just around 1 or 2 years ago, and I am having some workflows which my users are going through, and in these cases I want to set up some automation and workflows as well as some automations available. There as my feature request for on my roadmap. Would I be able to, till the time those features or those automations are available in my product itself? Is there a way, if I have some actions and triggers already set up from my app as in itself? Is there a way where those automation will be possible using these IFTTT platforms within an app itself?
Okay, so let me give some better understanding, right? So such like if such like the automation that you want to build, right? If this automation is within your product, right? Such
Mhm.
like the in your product, if there are two features, right? And such like you want to implement such like the feature one is doing something, then you want to do something feature two, right? To yeah, so if this whole cycle of integration is within the product, right, then at that time you don't have to build the IFTTT, right? But if the feature one of your product and feature two of other product, right, if the integration is required between them, or if the automation is required between other products, then it will be good to if you go to the IFTTT, right? Yeah. So I think yeah, I think it is a matlab, it is a answer that you are asking a question. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So I was just trying to find out a way where founders and all the salespeople who are selling their product not having workflow altogether right now. But if there is a way around, so if they could utilize this way of implementing the automation. But I definitely got the
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah. And other other thing is ki just like the we can say, right. So before you such like the before going to the market, right? So as a stage we define, right? The first is the public API, and then is the IFTTT, and then is the marketplace, right? But it is also the one stage before the public API, right, where you build some product, right, and you want migrate certain you such like the you have built one product, right, and there are so much competitor of that product, right? So first is the how you migrate their user to your product, right? So it's like the we can say there are two CRM product, right? The Salesforce and the HubSpot, right? So like you just have started the HubSpot first, okay? Now, firstly, if you want to get the users that are using Salesforce, right? If they want to if they are using if they want to use the HubSpot, right? The first thing that you have to build is how they migrate their CRM wall the system from one application to another application, right? So at that time, it would be also great to build some IFTTT platform that help us to migrate the user from one system to another system instead of going to state the public API. So this is also one of the state that can help us to uh, help us to get the good customer. Yeah.
Right. Harsh, so I have a question with respect to, I mean, you have defined very well when does one need it. So once as a person who is running a SaaS product, if once I know that I need it, like how do I divide it within my team and decide, how do I plan it within my team structure, within my tech team, how to go about building one?
Okay. Yeah. So if we consider the same stage, right, the public API, IFTTT, and the marketplace, right. So if there is a on the initial stage, when there is you already have the tech team, right? They are building the APIs, right? So it will not you not need to have some separate team that can help us to make it publicly, right? Because there is some documentation you already have created the API, right? So you don't have to need some separate team, right, on the for the public APIs. Now, when you go from one state to another, right? When you go to IFTTT, then we can say initially how much IFTTT platform, how many IFTTT platforms are that you want to integrate, right? On the initial stage, there still you don't require to have the separate team, right? So like if there are only one platform, such like the Mac, right, or Zapier, then still it will be great if you don't have the separate team, right? Because because it is a one-time process, right? Even if the new features are adding, you can also add you can also add the APIs in your platform, right? But when you are planning to launch your APIs to the multiple IFTTT platforms, right? So like you can say more than five, six, right? At that time, you need some separate technical team that only work on the integration, because then after you can separate the two team. The one is a tech team, they are only building the APIs, right? They don't have to think about the integration of anything, right? There is other team, or we can say integration team, right? That work is only to integrate your product to the FTD platforms, because we have whole large list of IT platforms, right? And also you have to take care if there are something changes are happen or not in other product. According to that, you also have to change your applications, right? So for that, you can say you can have the small. You need the small technical team for this.
So I think so what you're trying to say, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that to start it off with few use cases, few APIs, and like a couple of IFTTT platforms. Building that integration internally is fine, but over a period of time, you yourself will also build new features within the product. Other products that exist will also build new features within their own products, and certain guidelines might change for the IFTTT platforms as well. And you might want to publish apps on multiple such platforms also. At that point of time, you're saying that you're better off as a SaaS founder to have a dedicated team that just works on APIs and integrations, and making sure that all of these applications are up and running. Would that be a fair way to think about it?
Yes, absolutely, yeah, yeah. So because the now thing is ki within a product, right, there is a one technical team who just build the features, right? Then it will
Hmm.
be great if we have the separate team who just only focus on the integrations. If there are if there are changes on API, right, then how you can keep the versioning, so that all if the any user have integrate the
Yeah.
old version, right, it should work fine, right? So all these test cases they need to verify. So it will be great if you
Okay.
separate that time a particular time, so that it can be run on parallel.
Got
Yes,
it.
right.
Understood. Awesome. I think this brings us to the end of our conversation for today. It's been a good conversation around IFTTTs, APIs, all of those things from start to finish. And thank you, Harsh, for sharing the insights around APIs, IFTTT, and building custom applications or marketplace. When is it a good time? How to think about it? How will it grow? What are the steps? And so on and so forth. And so, thank you for sharing thoughts on that. And thank you everyone who's been watching or listening to this conversation, whether it is on LinkedIn or YouTube. Please follow. Please subscribe. We do this every week where we take up a topic and we the four of us have a conversation about it. If you have a topic in mind that you think we should talk about next, do let that make that known to us by commenting on this video wherever you are, and we'll pick that up as well. Right. Our goal is for all of us in the SaaS community to grow. And but thank you for joining in, and we'll be seeing you again next time.